Coming up on the Booth Review, we're going to recap the latest loss to Philadelphia.
It felt like a microcosm for the season. Injuries, all this stuff, all this adversity, man, tough deal.
And we're looking ahead to the Christmas Day matchup against the hated Dallas Cowboys.
With Santa Fletch. It's coming up next. Welcome into the latest edition of the Booth Review Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein with London Fletcher and Logan Paulsen. We're brought to you by Microsoft Surface, Copilot, plus PC. We are in the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. Happy early Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Right? Got the unusual week where we get to play Dallas on Christmas Day at home. I think both sides wish the records were a little bit different. I think the NFL had wished the records were a little bit different, but it's still really cool. Arch rivals, Christmas Day, Northwest Stadium. It's going to be really amazing.
Yeah, there's nothing like playing the Dallas Cowboys, and also the opportunity to play on Christmas Day. I don't think either team will have any problems getting up for this game, regardless of the record. We want to win another ball game. I know both teams are eliminated from the playoffs, but man, it's just something about when these two teams get together.
Yeah,
there's a respectful or professional hatred for the Dallas Cowboys, and we need to win this football game to split the season series with them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And a lot of adversity for the Commanders, obviously, in this one with injuries and stuff, which we'll get into. But yeah, it's never hard to get up for a Cowboys game, right?
Yeah.
And especially that it's like a national game. Everyone's going to be watching. It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, let's review. We'll get a little bit into the Dallas game in a little bit, but let's get back to the Eagles game, which happened on Saturday night at Northwest Stadium. And I liked how you used professional and respectful because I'm not totally sure that both of those would have applied to this, but we'll just leave it at that, right? Like, this is an age-old rival. They did what they did at the end of the game, whatever. Like, why don't we just talk about what happened in this throughout the course of it? And in the first half, Washington was able to limit Philadelphia in a number of different ways, caught a couple of breaks with a couple of missed field goals, but found themselves in a ball game with a team that had been struggling to kind of move the ball as effectively as they had a year ago when they got to the Super Bowl. And then the second half, things turned. And for you, it's been like, this has been our season, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, like I said this on the postgame, it's been a microcosm of the season. And what I mean by that is I think you come in with all this optimism, all this hope, like people playing well, people are healthy. And then obviously like the second half of this ball game, in my opinion, is derailed by injuries, kind of like the season. And again, you just can't catch a break. The backup quarterback's in, you're moving people around on the offensive line. And you just see kind of when the talent starts to deteriorate, you can't hang. And so, B. Mitch and Tana and I were talking, it's like, man, like everyone says, like, this is the litmus test game because this is the team that won the division. And I came out of the first half specifically being like, it doesn't feel like we're that far off. You know what I mean? Like when the Commanders are healthy, when they're healthy and we're executing the way we can execute, like obviously there's things like we need more pass rush, maybe another corner, more playmakers, whatever it is. But it's not like, oh my gosh, they're in like a different stratosphere the way that, like obviously when we were banged up earlier in the season, it felt like. So to me, it was, just a perfect microcosm. Like everything, like when everything's healthy, everyone's good. It's a good product. When there's injuries, we just can't weather that storm, and it led to some tough situations.
When you look at that first half of the game, obviously it starts off with the kickoff, forced fumble by Mikey Sanders still presents our offense in great field position. Would have loved to got a touchdown out of that, off that turnover, but ended up with 3 points, and you saw in the first half, man, the offense is efficient. The run game, I thought, was impactful, and that was something that we needed to have going and working for us in that ball game. Thought the running backs were outstanding in the first half. As you mentioned, catching a couple breaks with their kicker missing, 3 field goals?
Yeah.
Missed 2 officially, missed 3, but they got a penalty on 1 and missed the second one after he had a second opportunity.
Benefited from that, and defense, I think it was a big stop, if I'm not mistaken, second half, or maybe it was Mikey or somebody had a nice PBU. And then the second half, we're getting the ball at the second half, and it's like, okay. And then, as you mentioned, Logan, things kind of went downhill once Mariota got injured.
Yeah, because, I mean, even coming out of halftime, they had that explosive play to Trayon Burks to kind of spark them off. You're like, okay, here we go. And then I think it was on that series, Mariota goes out with the quad hand concussion scenario. And
it didn't seem like when he went to the tent, it was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, nothing was obvious to us in terms of what happened to him.
Well, like I get to stand by and they do like the medical eval on the screen, and like they're looking at his head hitting the turf, and I think it was 2 plays before when he was running out of bounds, he like kind of aggravated us. So they had a lot of stuff going on in the moment. But yeah, it's just was tough, man. And I think it also makes you appreciate, at least me anyway, like the value of Marcus to the team this season. And now, like, Jaden is obviously, the guy, but Marcus is like, 1B in terms of how effective he's been in keeping the offense on schedule.
I think it's so interesting. I was thinking back to the Kansas City game. Here are the two teams that were in the Super Bowl a year ago. Obviously, Kansas City hasn't had the season that they won either. But here are the two teams that are in the Super Bowl. And it was very similar games. Like, the game plan worked to keep them alive. Even amid all the injuries, they have half their roster at times in certain, either whether defense or offense at times. They kept the game close. They got to halftime. It's a one-score game, and that's when things kind of started to change in the second half. And so I think, we were talking about this on the broadcast, and I think this is something that we're a couple weeks away from, but we're going to have a lot of discussions about. These are the teams you compare yourself to. That's the team that's won the division 2 years in a row, first team to do that in 20 years. That's the team that won the Super Bowl a year ago. And the entire offseason was mainly about managing expectations that the Commanders would have after being 12-5. And did they bridge the gap with Philadelphia, the team that they have to chase and catch if they want to get where they want to get to? I think we're going to have that again as we look at this. And yet at the same time, it's like an incomplete conversation. We never saw our offense together at any point in time. And again, like to your point, like they figured out ways to be effective with what they've had. The run game was working early. The defense was able to limit them enough. They got enough fortuitous moments on special teams, one they caused and a couple of nice misses. And suddenly they were kind of in these games. And to your point, it doesn't feel like they're that far away, but they are. And so I think we're just kind of like, we're going to toggle between that, for the next 6 to 8 months, really.
As you look at that game, and I think about third downs was a big difference in that game. We ended up in too many third and long situations, and some of those were self-inflicted wounds, penalties, things like that, where we weren't staying ahead of the chains. And going against Philly and Vic Fangio and the way he operates that defense, you don't want to have a lot of third and long situations against them because they got some pass rushers. They can get out to the quarterback, and the coverage structure that they have, it's a difficult coverage structure to kind of figure out and to make plays against. And then conversely, defensively, we allowed Jalen Hurts to convert some third down situation with his legs. We'd get him in situation. He's able to, the one touchdown, we had him 3rd and 15. The touchdown, I think, was it to Goddard?
I don't remember.
I think it was Dallas Goddard. He steps up in the pocket.
Oh, yeah.
3rd and 15, touchdown. And it's because just being able to step up in the pocket, big lane between the defensive end and defensive tackle. And then there were a number of occasions where he was able to escape out of the pocket, either pick up the first down with his legs, or by time find open receiver. So when you look at that, it's like, man, the third downs, I think, was the major issue in that ball game. Us being a too many third and longs, and conversely, us allowing them to convert some third downs, especially with Hurts in his legs.
Yeah, but I think that's maybe again why this game feels like such a microcosm of the season is without explosive plays from special teams, explosive plays on defense, and efficiency on offense, like you really have to play like a perfect game.
Right.
You kind of need, like the phrase I'm going to use is perfect game flow, right? You kind of need to be ahead of the sticks. You need to be able to get some of these other explosive opportunities from elsewhere because the offense can't always sustain it. You need to play complementary football. Defense needs to get off on third down. Offense needs to stay on the field for long extended drives. And like that was the formula last year. And again, for a myriad of reasons, they haven't been able to do that this year. And I think that's why, again, this game, to me, shows some of the warts, some of the areas for improvement, but also shows that you can, if you can manage that game flow like you're talking about, Fletch, you can be in any football game, really.
So take me through defense a little bit and how you're thinking about Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, their line, Goddard's strong group.
Yes.
Their metrics are way down this year. However, we're missing a lot of key parts. And we're rushing 3, maybe 4. We're not getting home. Hurts is finding room. How do you think Dan Quinn is thinking about how do we utilize this to try to limit the big plays against us?
Well, and that was it. You didn't see a lot of 5 or 6 man pressures because when you do that, there's going to end up a lot of one-on-one coverages on the outside with those receivers. And he mentioned it in his press conference. Those are 2 big play wide receivers. And if you're going to play man, if you're going to bring pressure, that exposes you to some man-to-man coverage against these receivers, and especially with A.J. Brown, because of his big body, you got to be able to tackle too. If you're gonna have one-on-one against against A.J. Brown, you saw a lot of hitches that he was getting because we're playing off coverage. We're saying we're not going to allow him to get deep on us. But, you can't have Hurts also be able to run with the first downs. And then one thing I thought their offensive coordinator did a great job of is going to that empty formation. They spread us out. They had three by two, three receivers. They had speed at the number 3 position. So you're getting A.J. Brown against a linebacker. And then also you got 2 receivers here. We played some cover 2 quarters as well. Not cover 2. Cover 2 quarters. And then also there was a man-to-man situation. So DQ was trying to mix it up, but Philly had it going in that formation against our defense.
Yeah, and I think the thing that, like with Dan specifically is he's kind of jerry-rigging stuff together at times, right? So like I think on the first 3rd and 7, when we broke that down on Coach's Show, they did a great job kind of showing man coverage, then getting to cover 2. Right. Hurts puts the ball out, you make a tackle, right? When you get in the empty, all of a sudden those disguises, which have been so helpful throughout the game, you can't disguise the same way.
Exactly.
So it's obviously man, it's obviously 2, it's obviously quarters. And I feel like Hurts kind of got really comfortable in those sets. And I was actually kind of surprised they didn't get back into it more after that long drive that they had. But it just, I think the thing, you've said this every week, and it's just, to kind of beat a dead horse here, when you can't rush with 4 and when you can't create pressure, like this is the type of game you're in. When you're in a lot of coverage situations, you're rallying the tackle, you're kind of hoping for that penalty or, drop pass to kind of get you in a 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations. Can you capitalize on it? And I think they did a decent job of capitalizing on it in the first half. And then I personally believe this, like in the second half, like the offense just didn't hold up their end of the bargain, right? The defense is on the field way too much. You have a bunch of 3 and outs. I think it's like 3 and outs consecutively. You have an interception. Like that's just a non-tenable situation for the current personnel of the defensive roster. So I think that's where you get that.
I'll say this too, Bram, and I think probably going into that game, it's kind of been the philosophy since DQ has started taking over, calling the plays on defense. That's bend, don't break. Hey, we'll give up yards between the 20s, but when we get in the red zone, let's play great red zone defense, force them to kick field goals, and hopefully our offense is scoring touchdowns when they get in those red zone situations. And I don't know what we finished Philly as far as what Philly finished in the red zone areas, but they were getting touchdowns. And we were not holding them to field goals in the red area.
The killer play was the Goddard touchdown. That was 3rd and goal from the 15.
Yes.
So that's the one I think that they're going to look at and say that's the one where they missed on. He made a very nice catch in a contested situation, but still, that was a very, very difficult one to swallow because to your point of we almost need to play a perfect game. We can't. If they get down there, we got to keep them to 3. That's the one that I think that gets lost.
I thought we could have did better. We could have played coverage a little bit better. Not Quan. I think there's I want to say it was a cover 2 structure on that. If we could sink back a little bit better as the corner, and Quan, he has to stay inside leverage on that. So if we can force him to, if he's going to try to fit that into that window, hey, he might not like it. Force him throw the check down. We rally up, make the tackle, they kick a field goal. So I'm sure as a defensive staff and players, they looked at that play and say, man, we could have played that better. And it's not on Quan, just how we can fit that just with that on that from the corner and the safety, just playing that deep to short is how we call that.
Let me stay on the defense just for a moment and profile one player, Bobby Wagner, who we're hoping here by the end of the year, he needs 15 tackles to get to 2,000. Only you and Ray Lewis have ever gotten to that mark in their careers. Bobby cannot catch you for second place this year.
Right.
He'd have to have like 80 tackles to do that. That's not going to happen this year. But 15 is very manageable over the last couple of games if he's able to play. 15 would be a lot on Thursday, but it would be manageable to get through
he had
to the end of the season.
Tackle game,
yeah.
Well, a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it would be a lot. But we're hoping that by the end of the year he does this. We'll probably revisit this next week, but I wonder what your thoughts are of someone joining a club that only you and one other are in.
Yeah, it's just a testament to him as a football player. When you look at the NFL, the history of the NFL, over 100 years old, and I know they didn't start tracking tackles until, maybe the early 80s or whatever the case may be. But since then, you're still talking about, 40 years or so, that only 3 players in the history, 2 players have eclipsed the 2,000 mark tackle Mark, and then how now we got Bobby on the cusp of doing that. It's just durability, productivity, preparation, all the things that it requires to be able to perform in that manner. So it's I'm looking forward to the time when I can welcome him into that 2,000 club, 2,000 tackle club, and Bobby's been the ultimate professional.
So you're rooting for him a little bit then to get there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a what I love about Bobby is, and I've shared this back in 2019, he reached out to me via social media, just, hey, I want to, can you share some things with me? And the respect that he has for the players who played the position for him, before him, and for him to reach out, I know he's reached out with Ray, myself, and some of the other guys, like, what are some of the things you've done to play at that level or did to play at that level? What are some of the training methods you do? All those types of things. So I appreciate him having that reverence for players who've done it before him. So no, I'm absolutely rooting for him to join that club.
No, I mean, it's really cool though.
Yes.
I mean, it's really, really cool that he's this close. And I also think it's cool that he's playing as hard as he is the last couple of weeks. Like, there's not a whole lot on the line for him, but like you can see the pride, you can see the competitiveness. It's pretty cool, I think.
I think across the league too, you'll see this. Like, the Raiders didn't lay down for the Texans yesterday.
No.
The Browns didn't lay down for the Bills yesterday. And they both lost, but they lost in very close games that could have gone either way. The Saints have been winning here late in the season. So I think you see the pride around the league, and I think you're going to see pride from two teams on Thursday as well, even though the seasons didn't go the way they wanted it to. What concerns me about Thursday is how much more healthy Dallas is than Washington, specifically at the quarterback position. So there's a concern there. But if you're wondering about, where is everybody's head? Where do they go? Go watch a guy like Bobby Wagner play, and it's still go watch Terry play the other day. Go watch these guys play, and you'll see the desire to keep playing no matter what, regardless of what the record is.
I haven't looked at our team in any ball game and felt like, man, this team has quit. That's there at no point during this season, whether it was an 8-game losing streak, during that 8-game losing streak, where you look like, man, these guys have quit. I just haven't seen him, and that's a testament to the guys that they've brought onto this football team, the coaches, the personnel department, all the guys they brought into this building, the culture. Because very easily there can be some guys like, oh man, this season's lost, I'm gonna hang it up. Even look at Jaden, who's he's had a bunch of injuries, and when they tell him, hey, we're gonna shut you down for the year, like he's disappointed because he wants to play football. I don't care what our record is. I want to go out and play football. I want to be out there with my brothers. I love the game. You only get so many of these throughout the course of your lifetime, and you want to play, and you want to autograph your work every single time you step between those lines, Logan.
No, I think that's 100% right. And I think the thing is, I've been on some bad teams, bad records. I've said that before in the show, and there's a difference between playing hard and playing with brotherhood and connection. And I think that's what you're seeing here is that brotherhood and connection. Because I remember in I forget, it was in Chicago in 2016, everyone was going to get fired. It was kind of getting blown up, and it's I'm worried about me playing well and don't the
coach. You can tell the coaches are looking up. They might be on the phone calling, hey, trying to set up a job. Because they know they're going to be looking. Yeah,
and again, when you watch this team play, I don't really feel that. When I'm walking the sideline, I don't feel that. It's we're together, we're in this, we're trying to win the ball game, and I think that's again a testament to Dan, a testament to Adam, like you said, the personnel they brought in. So it's cool, and again, this isn't ideal, but I think it shows you the value of something like that in situations like this.
I think before there was a salary cap, before there was free agency, before there was all these analytics, there were good teams and bad teams in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It's not the case anymore. I mean, the difference between a good team and a bad team in the NFL is so slim. And this team had everything go wrong that possibly could have gone wrong, or their record would be very different than what it is. And this is what happens year to year, and it can happen to anybody. I don't believe there's a bad team in the NFL anymore. There's a very slim margin between. There might be great teams, and there might be good teams, but bad teams?
I don't know. The Raiders pretty bad, man.
They're pretty bad.
The Raiders are pretty bad.
But to your point, though. And then watch if they go get a new quarterback with the number one, because There's the game this weekend between the Giants and the Raiders is going to be for the first overall pick. The loser's going to get the first overall pick. So they're going to have a quarterback next year with Ashton Genty, and if they lose, with Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. And all of a sudden, depending on how that quarterback is, you may not think they're so bad anymore. Overnight, right? Overnight, that could happen.
I think the Raiders are obviously a tough example because their offensive and defensive lines like need a lot of work, and like that's usually to me the better indicator of bad football teams. Like obviously quarterback's important, but like as opposed to skill position guys.
Right.
But I do agree with you generally. Like the parity this year, like I think it's so hard this year to be like, who's the best team in the NFL? Like it's really hard to give a definitive answer because of the parity. Because like this team's good, this team beats this team. Like it's more matchup driven than ever. And again, like it's so easy for teams to bounce back and do different things and play well. So it's I think it's like kind of the golden age of football right now because defenses are playing better, offenses are playing better.
I mean, think about who's not going to be in the playoffs this year. The Chiefs are not going to be in the playoffs this year. Detroit is looking like they might not be in the playoffs this year. Tampa's in trouble to not make the playoffs. The Ravens are in real trouble to not make the playoffs. They're not bad. None of them are bad football. None of them would you qualify as bad football teams.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, Kansas City, like that's a given. You have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. So you're like, he's good for 10 wins just by himself.
Right.
And their defense, typically, historically, they've always been one of the better defenses in the league. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked out for them. And then they just lost Mahomes. But even before he got injured, they were on
the cusp.
Yeah, they were
not going to win their division.
No, not at all. Baltimore's interesting to me. Just watching, Lamar got injured again. He's been banged up, hasn't been fully healthy. Their defense, especially their pass defense, we're talking about the Ravens. If you say what's in the DNA of a Raven, it's always been their defense. Think Ray Lewis and all the dominant defense they had.
Suggs, Reed.
Yeah, they imposed their will on you as a defense, and then you look and you see what New England was able to go in there and do. It's like, man, this is the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. We're talking about.
Yep. I mean, to the point of like, there's no bad and good. Look at New England 1 year to the next. They changed their coach. Drake May's in his second year. They're going to get the 1 seed now. Like they went from where they were picking a year ago, got some free agency.
Are they ahead of Denver now?
Yeah, because Denver lost. Yeah, because
they both got the same record.
Yeah.
But
we'll have to see. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's get back to our game. Let's get into the offense a little bit. Chris Rodriguez, nice game again. 15 carries, 63 yards, 4.2 touchdown run late, obviously for them. There's been a lot about what he's gone through this year, right? Changed his body.
El Ariete, you see me?
Yeah. He's like a proud dad over here, man. Smiling every time someone mentions Chris Rodriguez.
You love him.
I love him. I love Chris because of just watching him, especially a year ago, bounce back and forth between practice squad, on the roster, off the route, back to practice squad. And in the way, like I would see Chris and he was always the same guy. Just always smile on his face and just like, man, where he could have easily been frustrated with that situation. Because I think the year before, he played a major role as a running back. So to have his situation happen like that last year, and then this year, he wasn't even active, I believe, in the first game.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't active in the first game.
And I think he'll tell you he was disappointed by that. After the preseason,
Right. And that game, Chris has produced every time he's got an opportunity. This year, you talked about getting his body in a different condition, different shape. He ran with so much power the other night. I mean, just the body lean, not giving the Eagles a target to hit. The 15 carry, I would have loved for him to be able to get more, but the game flow kind of changes. And then Bill ran well as well in that ball game as well. I think we would have loved for a little bit more production out of the run game. Some of the things the Eagles did kind of mess with our blocking schemes.
Yeah, I mean that's my thought. Is like I think the backs ran hard. I think obviously they missed cuts here and there, but I think there was sometimes I get in that 6-1 front. It just is a little bit difficult to deal with in terms of targets, especially if you're not used to seeing it. And I felt like there was a little bit of that going on. Just interesting decisions in terms of combinations and where we're going, how we're targeting stuff, and especially with a guy like Jordan Davis, which you talked about. I think both of you guys talked about it on the show, on the broadcast. Like he's such a problem. And so how can you work your combinations to ensure that you're getting 4 hands on him?
Yeah, you got to get them paws on him.
You got to pause on him.
Get paws on him, 4 paws.
And so it was kind of, it's funny, 2 weeks in a row, it's been kind of what I would characterize as messy in terms of targets and some technical execution. But I think it's, again, a testament to kind of the grittiness of that group, that they're able to, fall forward for 4, fight for an extra 2 here, and have a relatively productive day.
Bill Krosky-Merritt, he only got 8 carries. I'm personally not surprised that was the case. I know people saw the game he had in New York, and remember, Chris didn't play, and that's a bad rush defense this year. And they saw that, and they go, well, here's a guy who's explosive. He's going to get the ball more. And I was watching that Eagles defense coming in, and early in the season, one of the things that they wanted him to improve on was protection. And these blitzing linebackers, Nakobe Dean was running people over, and Nolan Smith has become a very good either outside edge or blitzing linebacker. They've been really strong at this. So it didn't surprise me that the bulk of the carries didn't go his way. At the same time, he ended up scoring. And maybe he had one of the best runs of the day, the one early where it was for 11 or 12, where he got through a crease. He actually made the touchdown a little harder than it had to be. There was a crease that was wide open, but we're nitpicking. He scored anyway. But for him, what are you seeing for him now as he kind of heads towards year 2?
I think there was that stretch during the point of the season where he was having the fumbling issues, and I think he got so caught up in not wanting to fumble the football that he wasn't running natural, using his natural instincts. He was, and he also was trying to make everything a home run. He started dancing a little bit, as opposed to sometimes you just got to take what's there, put your head down, and run through the back of somebody. It might even be running through the back of your own blocker. But since then, especially the last couple of weeks, he's run with more power, more certainty, just hey, I see this, I'm gonna get downhill. You can see him gaining the experience, his vision, his jump cut, that's always been there, but just his running between the tackles, I've definitely been impressed with him over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it has to be. I think one of the things that is so important for young backs coming into the league to know and understand is that you got to keep the offense on schedule. I remember Bobby Turner, when he was here, old Bobby, the running backs coach with Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
It was just hey, man, I don't care. I don't really care about home runs. I care about getting on base with runs, right? If you run for 2, run for 3, that's better than a -1 0-yard run. Yeah. And I think Chris does that really, really well. And again, I think Bill is learning how to do that. And I think you talked about, and Fletch just mentioned it, the home run element.
Wait for your pitch.
It's so tempting to want to do that every time, but you gotta. If the offense isn't on schedule, you're in a lot of third and longs. You really, as a back, have a lot of control over that game flow element.
Listen, sometimes you might have to be your own blocker on some of this. There's a zone. Yeah, it's supposed to go outside, but that thing parts like the Red Sea. I might have to put my foot in the ground. And I see this linebacker. He's 5 yards out. It's mano a mano. I'm gonna get downhill, and we're gonna have a collision. And I'm probably going to get 4 or 5 yards, and I might even break the tackle.
Run. That's an awesome run, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think early in watching Philly getting ready for the game, I was asked by a lot of people in Philadelphia, they're like, what do you think's wrong with our offense? Which is a trap question for them to get you to say something bad about their team. But for me, and maybe you agree or disagree, I actually think it's their inability to run the ball well on the early downs, where they actually become like everybody else. That, to me, is the difference, and I don't know if they're not disguising where the ball is going, because I'm seeing Saquon get blown up over and over. It actually happened in our game as well, a little bit more than you would have expected. And that's their problem to deal with, but that's what sticks out to me. So to your point about you got to take what you get to keep yourself running on time, Philadelphia is like everybody else when they don't run the ball well on the early downs too.
It's 1,000,000%. And I think if you look at the biggest difference between last year and this year, it's his explosive run percentage. And you mentioned this on the broadcast, yards before contact, right? And I think do have a new offensive coordinator. Man, we talk about run targets here. I talk about it with you quite a bit, texting and stuff. They target runs, and I'm like, why would you target it this way? You know what I'm saying? And again, you can tell they're still feeling out new combinations, new points of emphasis for the offense. And again, there's probably a lot of carryover. You can tell there's different priorities. Last year, they were this kind of hey, we're going to be a tight zone counter team. We're going to run bounce the perimeter. And now it's a lot more duo, really tight zone. You know what I mean? Downhill runs. And you could tell that the tight ends, the tackles, are not used to that distribution. And it's really negatively impacted the offense, to your point, and they're good enough to survive it because they're one of the most talented teams in football. But, to me, that's got to be high on the list in terms of biggest difference from last year to this year.
Yeah, the offensive line they've had some health issues as well.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think they're playing as well as they were a season ago either. So whether it's a new offensive coordinator or not, I mean, sometimes they're just not winning their individual matchups, not consistently enough like they used to, and that's been a big difference.
And you see like Mailata and like good football, and Dickerson, like you see it with good football players.
Oh yeah,
over there.
I wonder if we've all of a sudden given them some confidence with Saquon. He's had rushed for over 100 yards 2 out of the last 3 weeks or something like that.
He only has 300+ yard rush days on the season, but 2 of them have come recently, so they're coming around. And that is without Lane Johnson. He's missed like well over a month with a foot injury, so we'll see. We'll see them in a week. All right, let me get back to our team for a moment. A couple guys I just want to point out to you and see where you think they are. Jacob Martin came in here, veteran. Every week he's given them a play.
That's Logan's boy.
Yeah, he forced a fumble this past week. Unfortunately, Hurts was able to get it back, but he forced a fumble this week. And he just seems to be bringing a lot of energy to the edge for them. So what have you seen from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think so obviously he has a good pass rush nuance. I think the thing that sticks out most, and if I was I coach high school football, I go, hey, go watch Jacob Martin. It's not because the pass rush nuance. It's because he plays hard. He's conditioned. He plays every down like it's his last. And he makes plays because of it, right? He's in pursuit. He's chasing the quarterback down. He brings a bull rush, and there's something about we got 40 snaps in the game. I'm giving you everything I got on all 40. Like you're gonna make plays, and
Absolutely.
so that's the thing that gets me juiced about Jacob Martin is is he Myles Garrett talent wise? No, but who is he has made a niche for himself in the league because he plays hard, and it gets me fired up.
He's physical too.
Yeah,
he set hard edges. I noticed that even early in the season when before he started kind of turning the corner as a pass rusher, he was setting hard edges as an outside edge defender, which is big when you talk about stopping a run. He has a variety of pass rush moves too.
He's nuanced. He's talented, right? He's got a great cross chop. He's got great power, good long arm.
You'd said that story about when y'all were in the
dude. Yeah. So I was in Houston. I just got cut from Atlanta. I'm in the bus with this guy. I've never met him before. He goes, "Hey, I'm Jacob," and he literally from the airport. We had to sit and wait for somebody else from the airport to the facility. He talked to me about pass. I played tight end. Talk to me about pass rush for 45 minutes. You know what I mean? So dude gets fired up about it.
The whole time you holding your earbuds, waiting?
I was like, oh yeah, it's like when I'm on the bus with you, and I'm like, what question?
Look at his phone, man. Can my wife call me right now, please?
but you love that kind of passion, like a guy that's motivated by his craft, and you see it in how he plays. So that, those are the types of guys that get me super emotional about football. Like Bobby Wagner playing hard when really nothing's on the line for him, and Jacob Martin, a guy who's found a role for himself because he just does things.
Bobby was
way.
Outstanding in that game, too.
Dude. He was so Philly, man. I think he's been good since Miami. To be quite honest with you,
he's played extremely well, and I'd say it's fresh legs because lately he's only been practicing maybe once a week.
Yeah,
and he's on that old plan that I used to practice at, and before I was like, man, I don't want to ever miss a practice. I want to take every rep in practice. Then I was injured one week and I couldn't practice, and I went out and I balled.
And you were like, all right,
what? I might be on to something. So
I remember you doing walkthroughs with the walking boot on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Bobby's discovered that, you know what, man, once a week practice, I can go out and play extremely well because these legs, man, you only have so many snaps on them.
All right, one other player I want to get to, and I want to ask you about. Trayon Burks had a couple of nice catches. One of them got reversed by a hold. Yeah. Let me go back to Burks for a minute.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so he's catching passes from who knows what quarterback every single week. He came in here midseason. He was coming off injuries, new environment, new everything. What have you seen from him, or what can you learn about him as they think about him as being part of the receiving core potentially into the future?
I mean, I think you see a guy who's got a great catch radius, good hands. He's competitive at the catch point. I think you see some stuff technically as a route runner in terms of breaks, decelerations that can be improved upon. He's a big guy though, but I think you can call plays to fit his skill set, right? Maybe he's not your, like Pierre Garçon, great comeback runner, right? Deshaun Jackson, not so much, right? A little bit loose. So let's call stuff that he's good at. And the other thing that gets me super fired up about him is when he's inserting in the run game, he's trying to block people. So I feel the passion for the game that's coming, and I also see a tremendous skill set. Like I see his skill set. And again, it's maybe not the most refined and nuanced, like the same way that Terry is or one of those guys, but I think there's definitely something there. And with the right coach, right situation, right utilization, could be pretty dynamic.
I see first thing that jumps out is his size.
He's a big dude.
Talk about 6'2". I don't know what he is weight-wise.
He's got long arms, too.
Yeah, long arms. Athletic. He can jump. We had him on the Players Club, and then you and I interviewed him after the game when he made that catch, and he's like, I make plays like that all the time in practice. So he wasn't being
but
arrogant or anything.
Honest,
he was just saying, like, I do this all the time, like making one-handed catches or acrobatic catches. So the size, the athleticism, the ability to grow across the middle, and the pass that got called back because of the phantom hold, that was a phenomenal catch between defenders, no fear. So those are the things that I like about him, and I think he's in a great room starting off with Bobby Ingram, the wide receiver coach. He shared with us how Bobby is just always so positive for him, and to all the guys. It's like, hey, if they didn't run the route correctly, instead of, getting on him, he's like, hey, all right, man, don't worry about it. The next time, let's move on. All right, we're going to get it right the next time. And just that confidence. And then being in that room with Debo and Terry and some of the other guys, he's definitely benefited from being here.
All right, as we close today, unusual Dallas week. It's a Christmas Day game here. Records are what they are. Team is very injured. Sam Cosmi, unfortunately, went on IR today, so another shift on the offensive line. We'll have to see with Laramie Tunsil. Brandon Coleman got hurt in the game, so we'll have to see with him as well. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts there up front. And obviously, we don't know about Marcus Mariota. The team signed Jeff Driscoll, who was with the team a year ago, to the active roster. So he's probably the primary backup to Josh Johnson if Marcus can't go. So forget review. Let's do a preview here, okay? If you're on offense and Mariota's not playing, which we don't know is the case, how are you thinking about, whoever the quarterback is with a very different offensive line and trying to manufacture something this week against the Cowboys?
Yeah, I think it's about, for me, like when you kind of like start taking pieces off the board, it's about what is the quarterback the most comfortable with from a pass game standpoint.
Yes.
So that's going to move to the top of the list, right? And then we're really going to take a deep dive on the run game, right? Like how do we optimize the guys that are in, the backs that we have? How do we make sure we have good angles in the blocking surface? Because that's got to be hyper efficient. And then I say this every week, but where do you manufacture your explosive plays from? Is it trick plays, double passes? If you're trying to put points on the board, this is the game where you really got to kind of dig to the bottom of the barrel there and say, this is what we got to do.
I'd say one thing, though, that's to our advantage as an offense, assuming Mariota's not able to play. First of all, they won't know who our starting quarterback is until Thursday. Until
how hard is that to deal with, by the way?
It's hard. It's difficult, especially in a situation like when from Jaden to Marcus, not as difficult because you're similar offense. You're gonna run the same offense, basically. You might run a little bit more of certain concepts with one guy as opposed to another. So that's not as difficult as you got Josh Johnson. You really haven't seen him in this offense at all. So what is the offense going to look like with him? And then with Jeff Driscoll, you have to go back to preseason to watch him in this offense. So you don't know, hey, what are the strengths and weaknesses of these two quarterbacks in this offense? And you won't find that out until game day. So as a defense, now we're just trying to we don't know how to kind of develop our game plan. What are we going to major in from a defensive standpoint? Yeah, we're going to major in stopping a run, but are we going to blitz this quarterback? Are we going to play a little bit more coverage? Does he have the arm to go deep against us? Is he a quarterback that's going to take shots? Will he scramble? All those types of things.
Were you here with you were here when we played Minnesota and the starting quarterback went out and Adrian Peterson went out and they put Webb in and then Toby Gerhart?
Yes.
And we were up by 2 scores.
Yeah.
Is that part of the difficulty? Is you just stylistically it's
I've lost
different pitch?
I've been on a defense where we've had more than our fair share of kind of losses when a backup quarterback has come in.
No kidding.
Because for one reason or another, we may take our foot off the gas and it's perfect example. We're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, Monday Night Football. When we came out in that all burgundy. Bram, I know you remember this, man. 2008. we knocked Roethlisberger out of the game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you talking about starting the game off on fire. I think we had a couple takeaways early in the game. Just like, man, this place was electric. Monday Night Football. Roethlisberger gets injured, doesn't come back in the game. Byron Leftwich comes in. Fred Smoot being Smoot. Oh, man, they got Leftwich in here. We about to eat. Man, Leftwich came in there with that long, slow delivery. He got to lighten us up, and he was lighting Fred up mainly. and we lost that ball game. Now, it helped that Pittsburgh had probably one of the most legendary defenses in the history of the NFL that season. But from a defensive standpoint, we were pretty darn good defensively as well that season. I think we finished number 4 in the league, and the backup quarterback came in there and lit us up.
All right, let me ask you on the defensive side of the ball. So last time they played Dallas, big explosive plays occurred. George Pickens had a couple down the sideline. There was a miscommunication on the back end. CeeDee Lamb had a very long, explosive touchdown. So how do you think they're thinking about this? This is when they were healthier on the back end. How are you thinking about trying to limit Dallas's offense Thursday?
We're better on the back end now. We're more connected than we were.
Can you elaborate on that?
I don't know.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I was going to elaborate.
I thought you were just going to be like, hey, we're more connected than just.
No. I was going to elaborate. Yeah. So back then, we were trying a bunch of different things. There wasn't great discipline. We weren't connected in disguises and knowing your depths and communication. We didn't have Will Harris, so having him. How good
has he been? He's been awesome.
Yeah, having Will Harris as a communicator back there. We understand situations. We're calling, let's say, probably from a defensive standpoint, DQ has really said we're not going to give up the explosive. So we may play a little bit more off, may play a little bit more zone coverage, play a little bit more traditional structure. We still do our inverted 2, but we're just doing it in a different manner. That one that we gave up the big CeeDee Lamb play on, that was an inverted 2, and we didn't play it the way it was supposed to be played, and that's how he ended up being so wide open. So we're a better secondary than we were back then, and I think that just the emphasis and the attention to detail has ramped up over the last several weeks. So that's the big thing. I don't see that they may still have some yards in the passing game because they got some hell of a football players, hell of receivers, but I don't expect it to be the big explosives like they had in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think like when you just look at since Miami, really, like they've done a really good job of communicating, getting things spaced appropriately in the back end, and I think again, I'm very confident in that group. I know they've improved. It's just Dak Prescott's.
Yeah,
you
love to be able to
their
get
record
pressure.
was different. He'd be up for MVP.
Dude,
absolutely,
he's playing so well.
Yeah.
Now, it would help, man, to be able to get a consistent rush on the quarterback. And I mean, our kind of the hand we've been dealt. Now, Von has shown flashes. He's been able to get some sacks, and we have Jacob Martin, and then Drake Jackson.
He played.
He did some things that you can be proud of, and kind of like, okay, maybe there's something there. But we have to be able to get pressure, and hopefully you can get it with a 4-man rush.
Yeah.
So you can have 7 guys back in coverage.
We mentioned Bobby earlier. If Von does get one more sack, he ends up in the top 10 all time after this season as well. So he just needs one more in the last couple of games. All right, last thing, I've always wanted to ask this because like we've had a million holiday games against Dallas. 99% of them are down there for Thanksgiving. Put aside everyone is missing out on family stuff when you have to play in situations like this, but they are special. So I wonder how you remember playing Dallas on a day like what Thursday is going to be, where there's this big holiday, everybody's paying attention. Like, what do you remember? What do you think about when you think about Washington, Dallas on a holiday?
Man, I just know everybody's watching. That's the thing. And when I say everybody's watching, it's just like I want to put on a great performance to help my team win a football game. Like there's going to be one game being played at 1:00 on Thursday. They're going to be watching us, and you want to play for yourself, play for your team. You got, your friends and family members who may not necessarily always be able to see you play. They're going to be tuned in watching you play. So you want to represent.
Yeah, and I don't know if you felt this way, Fletcher. I got in like football calendar mode where like it didn't really feel like Christmas. It didn't really feel like Thanksgiving, just because you're like so locked into the schedule.
Yeah.
Now I agree with Fletch. Like, you are a primetime game all of a sudden, and like, so I remember 2012 playing down in Dallas. Like, that's one of those things that just kind of pops immediately in the memory bank because it's a big moment. But again, like, it's a great opportunity, right? Play some football, and again, nation's watching, so might as well make the most of it.
And I'm sure there'll probably be some type of as you're coming into the stadium, the fans, you'll see some probably people dressed up like Santa
That'd be
Claus,
cool, yeah.
having the stocking caps on, all that type of stuff. So there'll be elements that show, hey man, this is a different type of game, to where, you know, it's not your normal regular season game, Sunday football, whatever. That it's Christmas, and I'm sure there probably may even be some demonstrations or some performances within the stadium to kind of bring out that Christmas spirit.
You gonna dress up for the broadcast?
I might.
Santa Fletch.
He was Santa Fletch, yeah.
Yeah, I've introduced y'all to several iterations of me.
Yeah. There's a lot of kids that are going to be opening presents that morning around the world. A lot of them will be football related. Some will have burgundy, some will have blue, and some of those kids might cry at 4 o'clock on Christmas Day. So let's hope it's the ones wearing the blue with stars on.
I like
right?
that.
I like that. I like that,
You're
Bram.
a poet.
Yeah. Dropping a bar today,
Listen, like my entire life, on the rare occasion it's gone the right way, but many times that team has ruined my Thanksgiving. So I don't mind ruining their Christmas.
Even when you were little, when you're
little is worse.
Really?
When you're little, it's worse.
So we had some good football teams though back then, Bram.
Yes.
So the
But
Cowboys, well, I guess they were.
You can't lose to them. But it makes the turkey taste terrible.
No, I was thinking like, I felt like, hey, some of the Washington teams, they weren't able to
pull it out.
upset
They
down
did.
or beat
They
down.
did, but the record down there is not great.
Okay.
Not great. The record for anybody down there is not great.
Was your dad a big fan? Like, how did you get
yeah.
into? Like, it's like you.
Oh yeah, we're native Washingtonians. My father grew up in Washington D.C. So did my mother. My father went to games, to the old D.C. stadium. When he was a kid. He was a big baseball fan too. His heart was broken when the Senators moved away from D.C. He used to go to the games there, but that's what we got into, and so like it was. Every Sunday was lockdown in my house.
It wasn't just you, it was everybody though, right?
Yeah, I'm wearing either an Art Monk or a Gary Clark jersey running around my house on every Sunday. It was like we were serious, serious at our house.
I don't know. Is there still a Senators hockey team out there?
Ottawa Senators,
because I thought Washington Senators could have been in play when we with
that
the
was
name
possibility.
change.
Yeah, that was possibility.
I guess they just didn't.
Wrong show to talk about it. Because I don't know how they ended up with Nats.
Yeah.
They ended up with the old Senators hat,
I ain't talking
though.
about the baseball.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the football team.
Oh, the
You wanted
football
the
team?
Senators?
Washington Senators
The
football.
Senators? I think they wanted to be agnostic,
Yeah,
right?
Maybe.
We went with a military
I didn't know about the
agnostic. Yeah.
Ottawa Senators or whoever you just said.
Yeah. You don't know about them?
We're in America. We're in America. How many people?
We're in America.
Yeah. Do you
also
think when
hockey.
you think Senators, if we became the Senators, would you think hockey?
No. Yeah, there's a comment box though. If you want, we get a lot of those notes. You can put one in there if you want.
I mean that.
Yeah, whatever it is about the name, they've heard it.
Yeah,
Trust me, they've heard about that so
it's
far.
passed.
All right, everybody. Everybody have a really great Merry Christmas. We will talk to you on the Booth Review after the Commanders and Cowboys. We'll see you then. Booth Review was filmed at the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. Big Bear AI offers mission-ready AI for a rapidly evolving world, proudly protecting the Washington Commanders and its fans.